Well, welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today I will be reviewing a pretty unique horror movie, and that is The Last House on the Left. This is the 2009 remake. Now, I've never seen the original. This either came out 2008 or 2009. This came out 2009. Yeah, 2009. This came out in 2009, The Last House on the Left remake. I never seen the original. So let me know if the original is good or not. But I know I enjoy this remake right here. And I'll be completely honest, the stuff that's in this movie, this movie will not get made today. I'll be 100% honest, this movie will not get made today. So yeah, before I get into the video, you know what to do if you do enjoy. Let's kind of get into this. So this movie does a really good job of setting up everything. It does a really great job of setting up different things, and I like that. It does a really good job of setting up, your can't talk. It does a really good job of, of setting up these girls' parents and the girl herself, and you really feel bad for the girl that's in this movie because of what happens to her. And the people who are these like killers, you really want them to get what they deserve. And and the way this movie is written, I think it's really good because they really make you want to feel for this family, and you feel bad for this family. Like, you really feel bad for this family. And yeah, good story. It's written very well. That's like, I never seen the original. Never seen it. I just seen clips. But I think this is done very well. It's written very well. The cinematography is good. The way it's directed is really good. The whole setup and the way things come into play, it's done well and it's handled well. The cinematography is good. The way it's directed. There's some really cool POV shots too. But again, like I said, this movie would not get made today. And maybe because that's a good thing, maybe that's a good thing that this movie will not get made today. And if this movie got made today, there's about a couple of scenes that would not make the cut. If you've seen the movie, you know in particular which scene I'm talking about. Like, this movie goes places, and it goes places. If I remember correctly, there was controversy surrounding this movie's release, if I remember. But yeah, Last House on the Left. Fun fact: Wes Craven was a producer on this. He was a producer on this, and which a lot of people don't know. Wes Craven is a fan of remakes. He had a big hand in the Hills Have Eyes remake. He had a huge hand in that remake. I don't know how big of a hand he had in this, but I know he is a fan of the remake, and which got me so, and then it got me thinking about whatever this is, and it got me thinking about, again, this Nightmare on Elm Street remake or reboot or whatever they're calling it, and it got me thinking, did they even approach Wes Craven to be a part of it, to have his name tied to it, you know what I mean? Because again, I know Wes Craven had a big say on The Hills Have Eyes, like he was a big producer. And I know, and I also know he was a producer on this. I don't know how much of a hand he had on this, or if he just wanted to be credited as a producer. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments below. I can't talk. Let me know in the comments below if you know if Wes Craven had a big hand on this Last House on the Left remake. I know he did have a big hand on The Hills Have Eyes, but it just got me thinking, like, why didn't they approach him for the remake, which I find very interesting. But yeah, Last House on the Left, love this remake, and I think I did. Yeah, I actually did a top 5 my top 5 horror remakes. I got to do a top 10, and maybe spoiling it, but this has to be top 10. This has to be somewhere like top. This has to be number 10, number 7 for sure. Again, a very unique movie, from the way it's shot, the whole atmosphere. You really, again, I can't stress this enough, this movie does a really good job making you feel bad for this family. You really want these killers to get what they deserve, and I love that. The ending, I like the ending. You know, the killers got what they deserve. I'm not saying what happens to the main one, but just know he did get what he deserved. But I did not expect that type of ending from this, to be honest. I just kind of expected them to ride off in the sunset. You know what I mean? Um, but regardless, really good movie and shocking movie. This is a shocking, in your face movie. This really is a shocking, in your face movie. But again, the cinematography, the atmosphere, the way it's directed, the cool POV shots and some shots, you know, the whole build up of the family, the whole build up of the killers, the whole build up to every single thing, and just how realistic and gritty and dark. Oh my, this movie is dark, dark. Like, this movie is dark, dark, and it's a really good movie. Like I said, I don't know how much of a hand Wes Craven had in this, because again, he is producer on this. But yeah, and if you do so happen to check this movie out, make sure you watch the unrated version. I never seen the theatrical version. Obviously, this comes with the theatrical version because it says two versions of the movie. But of course, you should watch the unrated version, of course, because you know the theatrical is just going to hold back on a lot of things, and you're not going to know what I'm talking about if you watch the theatrical. But yeah, the unrated, that's the way to go. It's the unrated. When it comes to this movie, you should definitely watch the unrated. Very, very wild and just very out there movie, but it is a good horror thriller. That it is done well and it's done appropriately. Again, don't know how much of a hand Wes had in this, but if he had a hand in the pot of making this and a say, you know, then I'm glad that he had a say in this. And that is something, you know, I don't think, you know, off topic, but a lot of people don't know that Wes Craven was very keen. He was very silent on it, but you know, that's one of the things. If you knew that Wes Craven, you know, was a fan and, you know, didn't mind dabbling in remakes. And again, he had a big hand in the Hills Have Eyes remake, and I wonder if he had a big hand in this. Again, I'm not sure. I just know he is producer, because not a lot of people talk about this movie. Like, no one talks about this movie. I don't know why that is, but I just feel like this is a forgotten remake. Off topic again, but it's almost like the Stepfather remake, and the Crazies remake. They're so overlooked because there were so many remakes that came out in 2008, 9, 10, and 11. There were so many remakes, and this is one of the greatest remakes that's done. Maybe partly because that had, you know, the original creator behind it, but regardless, really good horror thriller, very chilling, gets under your skin. And I said this before, if if a horror movie, you know, and I can't talk about this, if a horror movie, if you can watch it more than 4 times and it's still good and it's still entertaining to you and it still can get under your skin in some parts depending on what type of movie it is, then that movie did it justice. This is a movie that it still gets under my skin. Really good movie. The Last House on the Left. That was my review for The Last House on the Left. A 10 out of 10 for me. Not everybody's. Now, this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You may want to skip over a few scenes. I'm not even going to lie. But really what draws me to this movie is the whole cinematography, the atmosphere, the rain, the whole build-up of everything. I just think the build-up is really good. And Aaron Paul is in this. If you've seen Breaking Bad, you know who Aaron Paul is. I actually liked Aaron Paul in this. He really showed his acting chops in this. Yeah. And it even says right there, from the producers who brought you, not from the producers, but they even have Wes Craven's title on this without putting him on the title. I think that's so cool. It's basically like, if you know, you know, because it says from the people who brought you Nightmare on Elm Street and The Hills Have Eyes, which obviously they're talking about the original Nightmare on Elm Street and the original Hills Have Eyes. But I think that's really cool. Wes Craven, Wes Craven, was keen and liked remakes, but he was just kind of silent about it. Really the only people that knew him and the really knew almost all his films, and basically just almost knew the man, would know that he was keen and had parts and remakes. Maybe he really did have a big say in this if they credit him right there. But who knows? But I find that really interesting because off topic again, like I said, I know he had a huge part. I don't know if it was huge. Obviously, that's up to the writers and the directors in the studios. But I know he had a hand in the pot when it comes to The Hills Have Eyes, and yeah, The Last House on the Left. And again, I keep getting off topic, but this is a serious one. I wish Wes Craven was still here with us, because I'm not lying. If he was still here with us, we would have already gotten a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. I think it would have been another reboot for sure, but I think he would have a say in it, like The Hills Have Eyes in this one, because I truly think they didn't even approach Wes for whatever this is. I do not think they approached Wes for this, and that's sad. I think that's sad. This is probably our last Nightmare on Elm Street movie for a long time, and they couldn't even talk to him. At least with these people and The Hills Have Eyes people actually talked to the man, and he had a say, and I love that. So Last House on the Left, a really solid remake, in my opinion. Really solid horror thriller. Recommend you guys checking this movie out, especially if you like horror remakes like I do. So that was the review for The Last House on the Left. If you enjoy the video, you know what to do. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, first time viewer. Hit that notification bell. It's just as important as that like button, because it will notify you when I go live or upload a brand new video. So make sure you hit that notification bell if you do enjoy my content. And I will see you guys in the next one.